Hey spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here, and welcome to Let's Play Transport Fever. Now, I did a short episode talking about the issues I had with recording this game. I think I've resolved those, so this is going to be a test game to see if we can pull it off. I'm not going to do the campaign or anything because I had a bad experience with the campaign, so we're just going to do a free game and have a bit of fun and play around on our own. Okay, so we're going to play on a USA map. We are planning, well, I guess I could do the Europe map. What do you guys think? USA or Europe? Let's do USA, you know, the old Wild West, it'll be a bit of fun. I'm going to play on, do I want to play on a small map or do I want to, I'll play on a medium map. A little bit of extra room is just perfectly fine for me. We're going to play on a relatively flat map. I think the game is more fun if the map is flat. I think, you know, hills just kind of make it a little more tedious and boring for me. We're going to play on medium difficulty. And we're going to start in 1850 and the world format will be 1-1. And you know what, the seed we will use the potato as our seed. We're not going to do any sort of advanced settings. Oh, we can select a custom year. That's pretty cool. We'll just leave that the way it is. So potato is our seed. Let's get going. Now, this is a very interesting game for those of you who don't know about it. It is a transport simulation game with some economic simulator elements. So for example, you will have a town and let's say the town has 200 population. It'll also have 200 shopping positions and 200 jobs in it. Your goal is to create transport networks in those towns that people who live in the towns will use. And the way it decides whether or not they use them is each little character in the game has a destination point, has a destination for his home, a destination for where they like to shop, and a destination for where they like to work. And they will try to route themselves to those places. And if their little pathway happens to fall upon a transportation line, for example, for passengers, that is faster than walking, they will use your transportation line. And the passengers also have other preferences. For example, one passenger might prefer a cheap route and another passenger might prefer a fast route, which means they will go on, they won't be as price sensitive. So it's a pretty interesting little game. It's a lot of fun. It kind of reminds me of Transport Tycoon Deluxe. I did do another episode where I just kind of showed you a little bit of the gameplay, but that was kind of me desperately trying to make something of a really failed recording session. And this is actually me trying to do the same thing again. I had a lot of trouble getting this game to record because, you know, as fun as it is and as, you know, good as the game is, it has a lot of technical issues. I found I would say the technical issues are my number one criticism. The gameplay is fun, the art is cool, everything about the game is actually really good, but the technical side of things is very, very much so a weak point in the game. Okay, so here we are. We've loaded into the game, and this is Transport Fever. It's a pretty cool little game. There's quite a lot going on here. I'm going to explain a little bit. So here's a nice big lake. You can actually set boats across this lake. Although I'm not sure why you would. So this is a relatively small map. It's a medium-sized map, but it has plenty of stuff that we can do in it. And we're going to get started here in a moment. So I want to look for a town that's near a farm and also near a food production place. So let's have a look around for some farms. And this Salt Lake City might be the perfect town for this, or perhaps even Portland or something. I was hoping for a slightly better chain here. Well, here's a food production. Fort Lauderdale is a good candidate actually because there's a farm and a food production facility pretty close together. So let's have a look at Fort Lauderdale. Is there a nearby town that we could connect it to? We could connect it to St. Paul or we could connect it to Grand Rapids. But anyway, so the game is paused and we can have a look at Fort Lauderdale. So Fort Lauderdale is a population 168. We can take a look at all the towns on the map here, and you can see they're all pretty low population. Portland is probably the biggest town right now, but Fort Lauderdale is definitely near mid. It's sort of the mid-sized town. It has 168 people living here, has 166 shopping facilities, and 164 jobs. So we can go into the charts here and you can see this will give you all data and stuff about this Fort Lauderdale. So we want to have a look at the actual layout of the town. So if we go into here, you can see the green is where people live, the blue is people shopping, and the yellow is where people work. And generally speaking, if you want a successful transport route, you want a bus that goes through all 3 of these. You want a bus that goes through this industrial area, that goes through the commercial area, and that goes through the residential area. So what we're going to be setting up here first is a little tram route. Now the first thing to do with a tram route is you want to upgrade your roads, and you want to upgrade those roads early. So here we go. I'm going to zoom in here so we can have a look. And I want to be careful not to delete any buildings, so let me turn off this. Because sometimes when you're laying down these sort of things, it will try to delete a building. So for example here, if I do this, 2 buildings will be removed. So I'm just going to do the here. So we've upgraded the road now. This is a high capacity road, and we're going to also stick some tram lines onto it. Like this. Oh, I didn't mean to bring it all the way over there. And these tram lines will allow us to make trams on them. And that's that. We have a little tram route that'll go from one end of the city to the other. Now, of course, the next thing we want to do is we want to actually set up the station for these trams, and we're going to want to set up just a little bus station over here. We're not going to spend too much money on it this early in the game because we can always move things later. I want to try to adjust the rotation here. I think about that's a good spot for it. We also want to go in and we want to upgrade the route to it. So this just gives an easy place for trams to turn around is basically what I'm doing. And I'll do the same thing over here. I'm going to grab another tram route. And I will stick it in neatly about here. Then I will grab the tram line. And you know what I might do? I might see if I can upgrade these roads. Is that possible without deleting some of these houses? It would remove those houses. So that's expensive and I don't want to do that this early in the game. I will probably do that later on, but for now this will be just fine. What I might do is I might upgrade them to medium streets, which will be just about good enough. It'll make them a little bit wider, and then we can upgrade those later when the game feels a little bit more nicer to me, maybe when some houses appear here. Okay, so we have our tram route that's going straight through the town that will cross through the industrial section, just past the commercial section, and then hit a residential zone. So let's set up the actual bus stations here. So the very first thing is we're going to stick down a bus station right here on this edge. Okay, and then we're going to also put right here. Now these aren't very far. These aren't very far spaced apart. I know that, but it doesn't need to be super far spaced. Okay, and then the next big thing is we want a couple down here. I'm thinking here and here, and here and here. So the tram is going to travel straight through the center of the town. Then the buses are going to travel sort of in kind of loops near the tram lines. It'll make sense when I show you. So the very first thing we need to do here is to grab ourselves a little bit more tram line route so that we can set down a tram depot right here. This is where we can actually buy our trams to run that route. We're also going to want a road depot, which will be available here. Right there. So now we have everything we need to get a route started up. But this town also needs a little bit of help because it's going to build roads a little kind of in a wacky way. And we don't want it to do that. So we're going to try and help it a little bit with its roads. Can I get it to come from the other direction? No. It looks like that road won't play nice. It's an unfortunate thing, but it's just part of the game. I'm going to build out a little road like this. I'm going to extend it to... I kind of want it to connect like that, neatly. So that there are defined loops. I will just have to... Maybe if I use a smaller road, yeah, I'll just have to accept that that'll be deleted. Then... this over here. I'll use a smaller road just to save a bit of money. Like so. So we've set up a couple of squares and stuff like that. I'll set up one more square over here. Oh, let me grab that. And this is just to give the town some well-defined areas to grow within. It'll grow naturally in certain different directions and different ways. But by doing this, we essentially give it like, oh, look at all these roads that are already placed for you that you can just build buildings inside of. So now we actually need to set up the actual bus routes, which is like the actual meat of the game. This is just a particular way I like to play. So we're going to get started here. This is going to be the... What was the name of this town? Was it Fort Lauderdale? We'll call this FL Tram 1. This will be the FL Tram Lane 1. We'll give it a nice bright orange color. And so the tram route is going to be actually fairly simple. It's just going to go from here. It's going to go along the tram tracks back and forth. And the reason I'm clicking on some of these twice is so that it's a bi-directional route. So it'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whereas if I didn't go through and click 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, it would just skip all those stations. So that's the tram route, Fort Lauderdale tram. We're going to create another route, and this is going to be the FL bus. Now this one is going to be slightly different. It's going to go to here. And then it's going to go along with the Fort Lauderdale street. And there's only going to be like one or two, like maybe 2 buses on this route, so it's not a huge deal. So this will be the bus 1 for Fort Lauderdale. We will give it sort of a dark orange color because it's, or kind of a browny color because it's a less important route. And again, we're always trying to go from green and blue into yellow. So that's the kind of route we're always trying to do. We're going to create yet another line. This is one is going to go from here to here, all along this way. And then back along its own route. And this is going to be the FL bus 2. So now we have one route that goes straight down the house, and then we have another alternate route that just dips off to pick up some people who maybe live down around here and stuff like that. And we're going to do another one that goes this way as well. So we're going to make one more line, and this is going to be the FL bus 3. FL-bus 3. And the reason I go through and I name all my routes is because if you don't do that, holy hell is it difficult to actually figure out what your buses and stuff are doing. And this is going to be, now there's only going to be like 1 or 2 buses on these extra routes, right? The main bulk of our stuff is going to be on that central route. Because we're kind of servicing pretty much a similar area, right? So that's going to be that. Now we can actually buy the vehicles that are going to be running along these routes. I'm thinking about 4 trams should be good enough. You know what? We'll just get 2 for now. Maybe you know what? We'll get 4. 4 is relatively inexpensive. I'll give these names. This can be FL Tram. Let's see if I can get this right. FL Tram 1. You don't have to name the trams. I like to do it. You know, a lot of people, they say, oh, you know, that seems like an awful waste of time. But you know what, man? It helps keeps me focused. When I click on them, I know what routes they're on and stuff like that. This should be FL Tram 1. FL Tram 1. And I might skip this for later vehicles. But for now, I'll do it just to kind of show you what you should be doing. I might skip it just for the sake of playability in the series. To keep the game flowing. So, you know, we named them all these things. I probably won't do that for my other vehicles. You name all these and then you set them to the FL tram line. And now they'll go out and they'll start running in this route. Of course, the game is paused, so they won't quite do it yet. And plus, we have a couple of buses that we need to meet out as well on the other stations. So we can close the tram depot right now, and we can open up the road depot. This is connected to the road, right? Yes, it is. Okay. Now, all we have for passenger freight is little horse-drawn carriages, but that's going to be totally fine. We're going to buy, I'm thinking, 1, maybe 2. 2 for this brown route. I'm thinking that might even be overkill to have 2. So I'm just going to set 1 to the FL bus 1. I'm going to set 2 to the FL bus 2. I'm going to buy 1 more horse-drawn carriage and set them to the FL bus 3. So now, if I unpause the game, you'll see our little guys going about their duties. I'm going to unpause the game on a fairly low speed. I'll speed it up just a squidge, just so you can see them all. So here comes all our little buses. They're going to hit the stations that they intend to. Here they are. So you can see them now. And as they move about, people should start gathering at the bus stations because they know now, oh look, and look, even now the town is even growing now because it sees, oh look, there's a piece of road. And I built this road, if you remember. And the town went, oh yeah, here's some road here that we can use. So you see all the people walking. I'm going to show this whole mechanic. If I click on, let's say this guy, okay? His destination is to his shop, okay? And the shop he likes to shop at is this building right here. And he lives over here. So he's gonna want to use bus routes that go from this bus stop to here, but he also works down around over here. So he's probably going to start using the tram at some point in the future because it follows along the route that he wants to take in his life. You can see the buses here. What they like to do is sometimes they like to wait at stations to space themselves out, and sometimes they don't like to wait at stations. Sometimes they like to go in different directions and stuff. But you can see our little buses going around and stuff like that. Now, there's a lot of foot traffic in this town, but you can see we have some of our very first passengers waiting at this station. Looks like the FL tram has started to pick up people. So yeah, that's the basic start. So we're starting to move people, but we can go even further. If we go into the Fort Lauderdale, you can see we're moving about 10% of the people, and that's not much. Now, this particular bus route, it's not going to make us money. That's the important thing. This is mainly just for the... this is mainly just for... what's the word I'm looking for here? It's mainly just... It's just for the purposes of economic growth. I'm just trying to grow this city, so I'm happy to make a loss on this little route. What I'm actually going to be making money on is transporting passengers from Fort Lauderdale to, for example, Grand Rapids. Now, another way to make money is to transport cargo goods like grain and livestock to a food processing facility and then transporting the food to the town. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So let's get started. For this one, we're going to be building a train. Now we're just going to build a single track station, train station for now. We will eventually upgrade it when the demand is higher. I'm going to use... I think I'll just stick with 160 meter trains for now. So I'm going to get this nice and close to this guy, and then I'll get it nice and close, and then I'll come away from it just a little bit, like over here. And then I'm going to build a small country road over to it. Oh, small country road. Sorry, excuse me. Small country road over to it. So now this, when I click on this station, the farm should be highlighted. That means that this station can pick up goods from this farm. Then I need to send the goods over to this farm. So I need another station on this opposite side. So let me go into the train station thing. And I want to have them roughly pointing the same direction just so it's easier to line them up and stuff like that. So I'm going to stick you right over here. Then I'm going to grab another road. I'm going to drag this road over from here so that you're now connected to this. So as you can see, this guy's connected to here. Now we need to build the actual railroad between these two. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab this nice piece of track. And you, generally speaking, you want to keep your tracks, I don't want to say like really short. You want to keep them fairly straight and fairly short, because the longer you make them, look how expensive that gets. It's like up to 600k, 700, you know, but if you build them in little chunks, you kind of follow the route of the terrain a little bit more. You can also turn on the elevation map mode, which will give you an idea of where the ups and downs of the terrain are, and you can kind of plan around those. So for example, if I just went to here, it would be 20k, but then I would have to go really steep up into digging through this hill. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go a little bit up into the hill, say about 40k. Oh, that speed limit there is not good. I need that to be 120, so I'll move that over very slightly. So there's a little bit of a build up here. We've packed up the earth around this rail, and then we're going to dig down through a little bit. I want to make sure I don't go up and down too much unnecessarily. What I will do is I am going to put another station here actually that will act as a future freight station for this town. Is that the residential area? It is. So it will act as a future freight area for this town, but it's going to be perfectly fine in the long run that we have this. And then I'm going to want to connect to this like so. That's an expensive route, but it is worth it if I do it, because it does cut through some stuff here. Now it's fairly expensive to set up a train route. For example, this is 190k. But it does mean it's all pretty above board and pretty straightforward and easy to get to. Alright, so we have now a train route that connects this farm to this food factory, and then from this food factory to this train station here. So let's get started. We're going to need something called a train depot. Where exactly I'm going to put this, I'm not sure. I'm thinking I'll put one over here. Near this guy. Oh, whoops. Go ahead and grab you. Rotate you just over here like this. I'll put you alongside those tracks, and I'll just drag from you. Like that. The speed on the tracks that go into the depot doesn't matter so much, because it's only mainly going to be new trains that are coming out of here going onto the line. So we have a single line now. We need to get an actual train. We're going to get the Baldwin 6 wheels. It has a top speed of 40 kilometers per hour. We're going to buy one of those. And the production of this thing is about 50 right now. So let's go ahead and then buy some cargo carriers. We're going to use some grain carriers. I'm thinking we're probably going to have to take out a loan to build a better train. So I'm going to go with, I'm thinking it's a relatively straight track. So I'm thinking we could do an 80-meter train, no problem. So let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, 89 meters is just about where I want it to be. And then I want to reorganize this just for neatness sake. These will go up top. Okay, so we have our train ready to go. Now we need to actually set up the train route. So this is going to be going from here to here. Then it's going to stop off here, and then it'll go back to the farm. And the hope is that this train will go to here, pick up livestock and grain, bypass this station, go straight to Fort Lauderdale, drop off the food and grain, pick up whatever food is built up, and then drop that food off in Lauderdale Central. Now, the important thing here is that we need to make sure is that we have this thing in range of some commercial buildings, because only commercial buildings are the ones that demand food. So hopefully the dream now is, if we go into this train, we can now assign it. Oh, you know what? I need to set that up. I need to change this route's name, and this will be the FL Farm Food Commerce Line. We'll call this the FFC Line 1. And that'll be a nice green color. We're going to assign you to the FFC. We're going to assign you to the FL FFC Line 1. We're going to press play. The train should come out. Here he comes. Now we're probably going to lose money for a little bit of a time while we wait for all our stuff to happen. For example, the setup of all this kind of stuff, like it takes time for the food to realize that it can go here, and then it takes time for the takes time for the grain and cattle to realize it can be loaded here, and then it takes time for it to realize it can be delivered here. You know, so the economic simulation isn't instant, but there should be fairly soon, food should start arriving to this wagon, if I've done this all correctly. And I'd like to think that I have. It seems like it doesn't want to... Seems like it has not decided that this is the correct route to use. We're gonna have to see if we can fix... Sometimes the economic simulation is being a bit dumb. Now this is the first time I've done this kind of intermediary station thing, so that might be what's causing the issue. I'm kind of hoping not. But you can see how we kind of made a compromise with this mountain, right? Instead of going all the way up to the top and over, we kind of said, hey look, right, we're gonna go up a little bit, but then we're gonna cut through to this station, and that's exactly what we did. We cut through down into the ground a little bit. You can see how we channeled out a little thing, but we also went up a little bit here by building up some terrain, and those are fairly expensive things to do. All right, so has the food realized that it can't use this route yet? It has not realized that it can use that route. I'm a little bit concerned. I don't know why it hasn't realized. Oh, do you know what I've done? This is a mistake I make all of the time. I accidentally use passenger stations. This is like the #1 you fucked up thing. It's a really annoying thing in the game, and I really wish it wasn't a thing. But yeah, you can accidentally use passenger stations, which are the wrong kind of station. So let me just remove all of these. This is an expensive mistake. But it is what it is. This line should now work properly. I'm gonna just play the video for a little bit longer, just to make sure. And you know, I do this probably like a couple times a game. So we can speed up time now, and this should start to realize, oh look, food can go along this route. So it's heading to Fort Lauderdale. You do have a path. Wait, why don't you have a path? Aha. There's a little bit of a broken piece of track over here, so I'll remake it. This is continuous, and then over here, did I get this right? Looks like I did. Okay. So now the train should make its way over. Oh, you know what we can do? I think, isn't there a way to do first person? I don't remember how to do it, but we can like follow the train along as it goes along its journey. So yeah, this is kind of pretty much the game. Some other really interesting things you can do, you can actually look at your lines and see which ones are making a profit. So example, these horse lines, they're not really making much money, but they're not really designed to make money. They're designed to get the passengers of this town using the thing and get the town growing. And you can see there has been a bit of like a decline, but there is a little uptick of growth. And once I actually start getting the food delivered, and you can see the food, now that I actually put the right stations in, the food has landed in here, and you can see built up over here. Here you can see grain, you can see the little cattle wagon, and once the train makes it back over here, it'll pick all this stuff up, or rather, it'll pick up as much as it can, because I believe it only has the capacity. If I go, do I have this train selected? Where did I? Okay, it only has the capacity for 28 of each. Did I use the right wagon? I think I did. So it's going to pick up these things when it lands. Here it comes. Filled up all the cargo wagons. Ba-boom. Well, it didn't quite fill them up, but it got pretty close to filled up. Now this is going to Fort Lauderdale over here. We're going to follow this train. Just to let it happen, because I want to show you the basic mechanics of this, and we're almost about to go into negative money, but this is planned. We have plenty of depth we can go into for a while, and generally speaking, for your first like year or two of gameplay, you're not going to make any money. You're actually going to lose a lot of money. Like if I were to show you these lines here, you can see, oh my god, we're losing X amount of money, but you know, they're not losing too much money. But for example, this train is bleeding cash right now because it isn't delivering anything. And this is as fast as they go in the 1850s. Like, these trains are by no means fast at all. In fact, they're incredibly slow. But they get there and they get the job done. They can carry a lot and they can carry a lot at a decent speed. So they're going to drop off all these goods now. I should get a decent chunk of change. It probably won't make me profitable, but it'll be close. 250k isn't bad. That pretty much wiped out all the costs of the train, just barely losing money on this now. We're at minus 64k. But the next time it comes along, it should start to pick up the food here. It should start picking up that food and then transporting that food to this town. So that's it for this episode. I want to thank you all very much for watching. Please remember to subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. Remember to leave a like if you want to directly support the channel. And remember to leave a comment if you want to give me your feedback. See, he already has one piece of food in him actually. It's something I wanted to show you. We'll watch that real quick before we end the video. And he'll drop off one piece of food and we should get a few K. Boop, 3k. Okay, so that's it from me. I love you all very much. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.